joins us. ABC News political analyst is out with his own new poll. Good morning, Stephen Roberts.
Hey, pal.
Sounds like President Trump's doing a little better in the polls.
Slightly. He's up at about 40%, and his average over the first 15 months has been 38%. So it is up slightly. That average of 38% is by far the lowest average for 15 months of any president since polling began during the Truman administration. But the other bright spot for the president is polling on the economy. This is always a critical issue. People always vote their pocketbooks, and about half of Americans approve of his handling of the economy. This is an important plus. The weakness here is not policy, it's personality, it's character, it's temperament. We asked people, do you have a favorable or unfavorable view of the president personally? 61% said unfavorable view personally, but that jumps to 68% among women and 73% among college-educated women. And this is the group that is most damaging to the president because a certain number of these voters voted Republican in the last election. It's one of the reasons why Trump won. There are probably a number of them traditional Republicans. They didn't like Hillary Clinton. They were tired of 8 years of Democratic rule. They believed Trump's promises to appoint conservative judges, a very important issue. So on balance, they voted Republican. But these doubts, as you and I have talked many times, these doubts about his character have not gone away. In fact, in some ways, they have grown significantly worse. And when James Comey, the former FBI director on TV last night with George Stephanopoulos, calls the president morally unfit to be president, he is poking at the single biggest weakness Trump has. He's not talking about trade or immigration or Syria. He's talking about the president's character, and that has always been his biggest flaw and his biggest political vulnerability.
That's what Hillary Clinton used to no avail, and the American people know who they hired. They didn't hire the Pope to be president. They knew who this guy was. So why are these women leaving him now?
Well, I think it's a cumulative effect. I think, as I say, when they made a choice for Donald Trump, they made it for many different reasons. And it wasn't just, I like Trump. It was, I don't like Hillary Clinton. And it was a comparative judgment that tilted in Trump's favor. But now they're making a judgment not choosing between Trump and Hillary. They're evaluating Trump himself. And after his conduct in 15 months in office, there are all sorts of ways in which these women are concerned. You look at just the issue of lying. I saw a poll the other day, a survey the other day of the most serious and professional fact-checking organizations came up with the figure that Donald Trump lies on the average of 6 times every day. There are over several thousand incidents where they've documented him speaking untruths. That builds up that sense of uneasiness, that sense of, is this man a good role model for my kids? That has been building up during the Trump presidency, and that's why along the edges, not for the core Trump supporters, but along the edges, the support is starting to crack.
So when President Bush, George W. Bush, won re-election, right, he put on the charm offensive during that second campaign, squeaked by, beat John Kerry, then went down in the polls for the rest of his second term. President Obama kind of did the same thing, right? Put on the charm offensive. A lot of people thought he was vulnerable, squeaked by, the edges came back to him, and then basically was about, 47, 48% for the whole second half of his presidency. So where are we with Donald Trump? He can turn on the charm if he has to a week before the election.
Well, I don't think it's that simple. Sure, he can turn on the charm, but he's going to have to run on a track record. Look, all politics is choices between alternatives. So much is going to depend on who the Democrats nominate. So much is going to depend on the state of the economy, which we can't project. So much is going to depend on foreign situations, whether there are American troops fighting in harm's way or is it a more peaceful moment. So you can't begin to project what it's going to be like in 2020. But what we can do is look at these polls and say a president who runs for re-election with 40% favorable rating is in trouble. 40% is not going to win you an election. The other thing you can look at is the changing demographics. Now, a lot of people, including me, and I admit that I was wrong here, thought that the changing demographics of America would help elect Hillary Clinton. It did not. But that doesn't deny the trend line. And the fact is, in every single election going forward, the electorate in America is going to be less white and the core and better educated. The Trump voters, the less educated, less without college educated, older white voters in each election become a smaller and smaller percentage. That's a fact. That's demographically proven. It was not enough to defeat Trump the last time. But a lot of Republicans very alarmed that the Trump policies, highly critical of immigrants, of Hispanics, of Muslims, is going to serve as a rallying point for a lot of these groups to vote. And if they come out in big numbers, that's bad news for Trump.
Stephen Roberts, I got 15 seconds. In that poll, do you have anything that says how the Democrats are faring in the midterm elections?
Yes, we do. And the generic vote favors the Democrats, but it's shrinking. And that's good news for Republicans. Democrats, at our latest poll, only a 4% edge. That's not enough to win back the House.
There you go. Stephen Roberts, thanks for your time. Have a good day. Stephen Roberts, ABC News political analyst, 8